Are you looking to start an Airbnb business in 2025, but you don't know where to begin? Well, in this video, I'm gonna break it down exactly how you can get started without needing any prior knowledge or any experience. And the best part is you don't even need to own any property. For anyone that doesn't know me, my name's Elliot and I'm the owner of a property management company in the UK. And over the last 4 years, I've managed over 50 properties nationwide, generating multiple six figures in income. And the best part is I don't own a single one of these properties. Now, the way I've done this is through a business model called rent to rent. This is where you rent a property from a landlord and then legally sublet it out to guests who stay on a short-term basis using sites such as Airbnb and Booking.com. So say, for example, you had a property that rented for £1,000 a month. If you then put it on Airbnb and made £2,000 from bookings, after you pay your bills of say £200, you'd be left with £800 profit. But it's important to note that you can't simply just start renting properties under your own name from a landlord and then sticking them on Airbnb. You need to make sure you do everything correctly and legally at the same time. So the first step is to set up your own business. Head over to Company's House, and for less than £30, you can literally set up your own limited liability company, which means you'll have your own company number and a letter of incorporation. Once you get these two things, you can go ahead and set up your own business bank account. So you can choose pretty much any bank you want. The high street banks generally take a little bit longer to set up, or you can use ones like Monzo, Revolut, or Starling, which you can get pretty much set up on the same day. Now, after that, there's a few other compliances that you'll need. The first one is called the PRS, the Property Redress Scheme, that you need to sign up with. The second one is called the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office. And then lastly, you need to get business insurance as well. This is for your professional indemnity insurance and public liability. Once you have all of these things, you're pretty much fully legally set up and you're compliant. So you can now start taking on rent to rent deals. So now your business is fully set up and compliant. The last thing you need to do is just make sure you have the right contracts. So the contract that you need is called a company let agreement. And that's effectively just saying that your company is going to be the tenant and going to be responsible for paying the rent to the landlord every single month. In general, we like to sign anywhere from 3 to 5 year contracts, because the longer time we have the property for means the more opportunity we have to start making a profit. Now that you've got the right contracts in place, you're pretty much good to go to start looking for rent to rent deals from landlords. The first thing first is to establish your area. In general, I'd probably want to focus within like an hour to an hour and a half drive from yourself, because for your first deal or even for your first couple of deals, you're going to be a little bit more hands-on. So if you need to get to the property to start setting things up, or if there's any maintenance issues, it just means that the property is easily accessible if you ever need to get there. Now, on top of this, it's important to actually choose an area that has demand for short-term stays. Because we are running this as an Airbnb, we're not having the same tenant who's going to be staying in the property for a whole year straight. So we need to have enough demand so we've got a constant flow of bookings coming in. Now, the best way to actually find an area is to use software such as AirDNA or Property Market Intel. What you can do is go onto these websites, put in a particular area or a postcode, and it will tell you what the average occupancy rate is. Occupancy is essentially how many nights in a month that are booked in comparison to not booked as a percentage. So for example, 21 nights in a month would be 70% occupancy. And then what it will also tell you is the average nightly rate. So that's essentially how much the property sells for on a night by night basis, which could be, for example, £120. Then once you have these two numbers, you can simply times your occupancy by your average nightly rate to work out what your expected monthly income will be. So for example, if it was £120 a night at 70% occupancy, you do 120 times 21, which would give you probably about 2,500. Yeah, just over £2,500. So once we know what our expected monthly income will be for a particular area, we can now start working out if these deals will actually be profitable. So what we can do is go over to Rightmove or Zoopla and start looking at what properties rent for in these particular areas. So for example, say if we found a property in this case that rented for £1,200 a month, and we know our expected monthly income is going to be £2,500, we know that this particular area as an Airbnb would work and it'd be worthwhile for us to look for a property. So once you've established your location, also known as your gold mine area, simply go onto Rightmove, Zoopla, Spare Room, and other online websites and start looking for estate agents and landlords to get properties from. So you're going to call them, message, email, whatever you can. Just try to book in a viewing so you can go and see these properties in person. Now, when you go on the viewing, you're going to pitch yourself to the particular landlord or to the estate agent so they can agree to your company let. The way you do this is by telling you're going to guarantee their rent every single month. You're going to take on the property on a long-term contract, like 3 to 5 years, like we spoke about before, and you're also going to take care of any minor maintenances. Once they're happy with your agreement, you obviously put in an offer and secure the property. Quite often, the properties that you do take on are going to be completely unfurnished. So that's where we need to come in and completely furnish the property to get it up to an Airbnb spec. So it's got all the amenities a guest would need for their short-term stay. Now, furnishing can be quite a long process. If you want to do it quickly, you can actually get a furnishing company who will come with Airbnb like furniture packs, set up your property within literally a day and you've got everything set up and ready. But some people actually enjoy the process. I personally don't anymore, but you can use like IKEA, Danone, B&M, wherever you want to start getting items to stage your property. Whatever you do, just make sure that your property actually stands out. If you want some inspiration about what you can add, you can use websites like Pinterest, or actually go onto Airbnb and see what other hosts are doing and how they've staged their property. When I say stand out, I mean maybe adding a nice wallpaper, painting a feature wall, adding in a little snooker table, just something nice and just add a little bit more of a home-like feel and something extra to kind of attract more guests. So once your property is fully furnished and it's staged and everything's set up, you now want to get in a professional photographer who can come around and take some nice pictures. Do not take pictures on your iPhone. Even if you've got the latest 16 Pro Max, I don't want to hear it. You need to get in a professional photographer because the pictures need to look a certain way. At the end of the day, if your listing doesn't look attractive and guests don't click on it, then you're not going to receive any bookings. So it's massively about the way you market your property. If you need a photographer, then let me know. I've got a bad boy photographer who can come and stage all of your units and take the pictures. But that's one of the most important things you need to do. Then lastly, you need to build what we call a power team. So that essentially consists of your cleaners and handymen. So your cleaner is going to be one of the most important parts of your business because they're going to be the person that comes through. They're always going to do the checkout cleans, all the turnovers. They're going to be responsible for the linen changes, the towels, etc. So take your time, interview a lot of cleaners to make sure you find the right one, because you need to find someone that's loyal and someone you can trust as well, and you can develop a good working relationship. That's the first thing. Your handyman as well. So in case there's any maintenance issues, they can come around and sort it out as well. So in case your boiler has like an issue last minute, or I don't know, the tap starts leaking, whatever it is, it just means you've got someone on call that you can bring to the property to sort out an issue. Because at the end of the day, this business is hospitality in terms of like Airbnb and short-term rentals. So if there is an issue, we need to move very quickly and get things sorted. Make sure you've got a couple of handymen in your contact books in case they let you down. And equally for your cleaners too, have a backup. We even have a couple backups just in case your cleaner was to ever let you down as well. Now, once you've got your power team, you can go ahead and start building your listings on what we call the OTA platforms. Now, OTA stands for online travel agent. Your websites such as Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, VRBO. The idea is that the more platforms we can list our property on, the more likely we're going to get booked because we've got more exposure and more eyeballs. When we make these listings, we want to make them attractive as possible. So using the professional pictures that we spoke about earlier, we want to have catchy, engaging titles and descriptions. And we also want to make sure we've got a lot of amenities as well. So your amenities include things like your ironing boards, hair dryers, etc. The more things we have, then the more appealing our listing is going to be, and it's going to attract more bookers as well. There are a few different demographics of guests that book. Some will be like leisure seekers, other people may be traveling for business, like contractors, and they book on different websites. So again, the more websites we are listed on, then it just opens ourselves up to getting more bookings and ultimately just making more money. That's pretty much what goes into securing a property, getting it set up, and now making money. Once you've got your listings all up and running, your next job is just ensuring that you're just managing it, managing your cleaning, all the maintenances and all your pricing, etc., and a few other systems as well. Hopefully you can see getting into rent to rent is a fairly simple business model. And one of the beauties of it is that you can pretty much scale rapidly because you can start putting profits from one deal into the next. And that's exactly what I done. So we took on over 15 properties in a space of 12 months using this exact model, just reinvesting profits into new deals. So hopefully you found this video insightful in terms of how you can get started in rent to rent Airbnb in 2025. And if you want me to go deeper in terms of any of the topics that I covered, such as where to find good locations or what exactly to say to an estate agent or a landlord, then feel free to drop it in the comments and I'll make another video about that in the future. I'm also going to be making content about my day-to-day life in terms of how I manage my current portfolio from pretty much anywhere in the world, as long as I've got this with me. And yeah guys, if you like this video, then please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos coming up soon.